Excuse me. Your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you?
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse.
They're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why would they get rid of the
call them
dwarves, though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group, you just erased that whole image. The argument should have been from Peter Dinklage, there's power of being on TV, there's power of television, and to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story, don't change the characters.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
This is someone who is as entitled as, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it, you didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up and do the job.
We're like, oh wow, Snow White flopped. Who is surprised? You cast arguably the least genuine, most out of touch, and disliked person in her industry, and her industry is Hollywood. And the bad guy is Gal Gadot.
One thing about Snow White in particular has a lot to do with Rachel Zegler's firing situation. We already talked about how she was let go from various projects by the Walt Disney Company, including doing voiceover work for Toy Story 5.
There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion, but the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings. I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
What happens when a Disney princess lights her own fairy tale on fire? Rachel Zegler was handpicked to bring Snow White to life, but instead, she sparked a scandal so wild it left Hollywood speechless. From trashing a beloved classic to becoming a Simpsons punchline, her story is a jaw-dropping roller coaster of ego, outrage, and epic missteps. Curious how one actress turned a dream role into a global meme fest? Stick around. This tale is messier than a poisoned apple and twice as bitter.
I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hope. It's off the boat we go. I hope. Sound like I hear a couple of people. One, two. Okay. 2.
Rachel Zegler was once Hollywood's shiny new crown jewel. Her gut punch performance in West Side Story snagged a Golden Globe and had execs tripping over themselves to sign her. At just 20, Disney handed her the role of Snow White in their live-action remake, with Gal Gadot as the evil queen to seal the deal. It was the kind of gig that makes stars immortal. Oh, how cute, right? A starlet, a classic, a surefire hit. Except Rachel had a knack for chaos, and she was about to unleash it.
When I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Then came the interviews that screamed career suicide. Rachel decided the 1937 Snow White was some dusty relic, calling the prince a stalker who gave her the creeps. Her Snow White, a fierce boss babe chasing power, not romance. How charming to dunk on a story millions adore. Fans didn't clap, they roared. Her clips went viral, painting her as the Grinch who stole Snow White. Suddenly, Disney's princess was public enemy #1, but she was just getting started.
It sounds like you're one of the only ones there, just like Rachel Zegler, as it turns out, and we part with this video of Rachel Zegler alone in a theater watching herself. One of the most unlikable humans.
That
ever.
is sadder than when the original Snow White eats the apple.
Disney, in a stroke of pure genius, axed the 7 dwarfs for magical creatures and tossed in one dwarf like a consolation prize. Peter Dinklage wasn't amused, blasting the move as a middle finger to dwarfism representation. Rachel's defense? A masterclass in missing the point, swatting away critics like they were gnats. Fans and advocates lost it, accusing her of erasing a community's spotlight. For a film about fairness, this was a flop of galactic proportions, and the internet was ready to feast.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple.
A wishing apple?
You offer it to me freely. In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable! I will become the leader I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Oh, what has she done to you? Fear not. First love's kiss can break any curse.
X turned Rachel into a digital piñata. #NotMySnowWhite trended as her interview clips fueled a meme apocalypse. She was Hollywood's woke diva, serving entitlement with a smirk. Every tweet, every red carpet quip was another shovel digging her grave. Some tried to hype her modern take, but they were whispering in a tornado. Rachel kept swinging, clueless that the internet had already written her villain arc. But the drama wasn't just online, it was slinking onto the set. Cue Gal Gadot, gliding in with a smile frostier than a polar vortex. Their 2022 Oscars duet was less BFFs and more stranded in a blizzard. No warmth, just stiff glares. Insiders spilled that gal, queen of playing it smart, saw Rachel's PR dumpster fire and bolted. The Snow White sisterhood? More like a solo act. Disney stayed mum, letting their stars stew in the awkwardness. But the real catastrophe was waiting in the wings.
I just want to tell you guys about a little incredible movie that just came out, Snow White. Wow. I just got to tell you, best movie I've seen in years, and there have been some really good films lately. Madam Web, Rebel Moon Part 1, that movie, that transgender one with the Mexican drug lord. But Snow White blows them all away. Chat, this movie has everything. Horrifying, CGI, little people, check. A feminist princess who don't need no man, double check. Diddy dance party at the end. Double Diddy check. All this to say, go see Snow White right now. The new one. Not that old stupid one where the princess gets saved by some good, upstanding guy.
When Snow White hit theaters in 2025, it didn't just bomb, it imploded. The CGI looked like a cheap app filter, the story was a sanctimonious snooze, and the dwarfs vanished. Fans didn't watch, they threw shade. The box office tanked, and IMDb slapped it with a 1.6 rating. A Disney Hall of Shame MVP. Memes of girl boss Snow White flooded X, with fans practically toasting the wreckage. Rachel's big moment was now a global gag, but the comedy gods weren't done.
Rachel Zegler just keeps making things worse with the Walt Disney Company. The more that she tries to defend this movie, the more that she tries to spew her agenda onto the general public, it's only making matters worse. Not just for Bob Iger, but for whatever is left of the image of Disney as a whole.
The Simpsons swooped in like vultures. Their 2025 episode unleashed Snow Woke, starring Rachel Z, a delusional diva who bans princes, rants at villagers, and watches her film crash before melting down on air. Subtle? About as much as a sledgehammer. It was a cultural crucifixion, and Rachel's ego took the brunt. When The Simpsons carves you up, you're not just news, you're a legend of flops. The episode blew up, and her team was probably chugging antacids, but her saga was still spiraling.
Please welcome Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
Visual effects push the boundaries of what we see on screen.
Their work makes the impossible seem possible.
With breathtaking ambition, they create magic that wraps its arms around our wildest imaginations.
Here are the nominees for Best Visual Effects.
While Rachel's off-screen life was no fairy tale either. Death threats slammed her inbox, forcing her to plead for peace online. Her breakup with West Side Story hunk Josh Andres Rivera fed the gossip mills, with sources blaming the media storm's crushing toll. Then, a fake OnlyFans account with her AI-crafted face went viral. total scam. But people bought it because her image was that trashed. Disney, ever the loyal pal, ditched her, yanking gigs like Toy Story voice work. Hollywood's doors were slamming shut.
Fairness of her skin, as we obviously know, Rachel Zegler would be a miscast in that sense. Instead, she gets her name from surviving a snowstorm.
The industry's vibe? Rachel's a walking PR grenade. Studios that once begged for her now ghost her like a bad date. Casting calls? Rerouted. Projects? Poof. X whispers she's fishing for indie roles, but the A-list isn't biting. In a year, she went from Disney's Chosen One to a how not to star tutorial. Her next move better be a miracle, because Tinseltown's patience is thinner than a glass slipper.
I think it's fair to say that no one can stand the star of this movie.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged. I truly do believe that.
And it just goes to show you exactly why she is so universally rejected right now.
So, what's the final word on Rachel Zegler? She grabbed a fairy tale and set it ablaze, earning a Simpsons roast and a one-way ticket to infamy. From princess to pariah, her Snow White disaster is a masterclass in crashing and burning. Can she claw her way back to Hollywood's good graces, or is she doomed to be Tinseltown's favorite cautionary tale? The spotlight's on, and it's merciless. Keep watching, this story's far from over.